Good morning. It's 11:05 a.m. Do you know where your home equity is? Welcome to the Velocity of Money. Here now to answer your questions about real estate, capital, equity, funding, and finance, your host of the Velocity of Money, Michael J. Barnes.
Welcome to the Velocity of Money. This is Michael J. Barnes, and you're listening to KFNX 1100, Arizona's news talk leader. Don't forget you can listen online at 1100kfnx.com. And just wanted to give a happy, Merry Christmas to everyone out there. And I'd sure like to thank my very dear friend, Brett Fallon, for taking the time to be in the studio with us today. Brett, one of America's finest financial advisors. Thanks for being here, Brett.
I really enjoyed coming. I appreciate you having me back.
Well, it's a tough time to get away from the family, so we appreciate you doing that. Thanks again. And, of course, the infamous Dan Havey. Now, we all love Dan Havey because he was instrumental in getting me into the mortgage industry about 14 years ago. Most importantly, though, Dan was instrumental in putting together or helping us put together the loan modification hotline. And we wanted to, and the author of Real Estate's Future. Dan, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me again.
So we have a few things we want to discuss today in regard to the economy, what's happened. We're wrapping up the year, but there's still things that need to be known that you may have missed in the media. The media's job is to scare you. Well, our job is to tell you the truth. So, Brett, you've got some data and some information that you wanted to share?
Some of the things that you hear in the media, I don't know how you can escape it. It is very much doom and gloom. The sky is falling. This is the next Great Depression. It's over for all of us, and we should all just pack up and go home. You know, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's pervasive out there, and it creates a lot of fear and anxiety amongst people that are either investors, people that are looking to buy a house, people who are looking to refinance a mortgage. People don't realize that there are certain tools and things that exist that we'll talk about during the course of the show today. But the other thing that they should understand is some of the things that we discussed prior to today's broadcast were interest rates. Interest rates are at historic lows.
The lowest, yeah?
Money is cheaper right now than it's ever been. We know that the Fed recently reduced the Fed funds rate, and that rate is the rate at which banks are lending money to one another overnight. Right now, that rate is zero. Historically, that's never happened in the United States before. The Fed's idea is to help to unfreeze this credit market. And we keep hearing all of this talk about credit markets are still frozen, the economy is going, this global recession is deepening, and all these factors. There is evidence to the contrary of that. Some of the moves the Fed is making are working. We're starting to see some of the things. You and I were talking recently about some clients that we're helping in terms of refinancing existing mortgages. Well, if the credit market's so frozen, how come we've got those loans complete?
You know, that's a good point. It's and we get the same phone calls. I think it was last Monday, right, or maybe it was the Monday before. You were talking. Someone had called you and says, "I mean, is there even any money to refinance? What can I do?" And, well, the reality of it is there's plenty of money out there for refinances. In some cases, there's issues with property values, but that's why, there's other options for those types of people.
Well, from a buyer's perspective, the property valuation part is a good thing.
Well, that's a good point, too. Yes.
People that are interested in that buying as an opportunity, this is an unprecedented opportunity, in my opinion, both in terms of investment dollar and in terms of real estate market. And for those that understand how those dynamics work and are willing to entertain the right deal, they will be handsomely rewarded. There's no doubt about it.
And as we spoke on the last show, numbers for November here in Maricopa County show that the median home price is down as low as $160,000 already. And it reminds me a lot of when I got into the industry way back in 1989. And the type of financing we had back then was FHA and Fannie Mae. And that's where we're back to again now. It's just we've got sanity back into the market. And yeah, prices have come down.
Sanity.
But right now, it's just a perfect time for especially a first-time home buyer or even a move-up buyer who can buy, under the Fannie Mae limit of $417. If you can get in that range, and as we spoke before, that 78% of all the houses in Maricopa County sold for less than $250,000 last month. So I think that right now is just to get out there and find that house to move your family into. And with an FHA loan, Michael, you don't have to have exactly perfect credit, though, either. You can have a couple of dings if need be.
Right, absolutely. You know, the specific, each case has its own merits. You know, every FHA loan is underwritten individually, but there's many cases where collections are okay. There needs to be a good story. I mean, you know, you have to be able to prove certain things. But yeah, no, you do not have to have 800 plus credit scores like you do. Well, 800 is an exaggeration, but saying you don't have to have 720 plus, for instance, like to get Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the best rates from them. So that's a good point.